What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Side Hustle Experience podcast. Today, we are doing a solo episode. It's been about 10 episodes, so we're just gonna kind of rip and see what we come up with, and hopefully, this goes well. What's up?
Yeah, I know. It's like this is all we used to do. I was like looking through the episodes the other day, and like all of them were solo for a while. And I'm like, damn,
Yeah,
man, we never do that anymore. But the guests we've been getting are so good that it's like
for
whatever.
sure.
But it kind of is like we haven't got to catch up as much. Because used to, I feel like these solo episodes were like just us catching up, but also like doing a podcast. So this will probably be a good turn.
Yeah, I feel like this is usually what happens after the podcast.
Mhm.
Like, we'll just like start like talking, oh, like what are you up to? And then we kind of came up to the conclusion. It's like instead of doing that, it's like, all right, get on here, say hello, do you sound good? Yes, no. All right, let's just turn this on and see what happens.
Yep. Well, what do you have any big topics to bring up? Because I have some that I think that you're gonna probably like this, especially what you just said before we got on here. But you want me to start or you start?
Yeah, start off.
Yeah. So one thing I've been thinking about lately is like staying motivated and like different distractions in my life. Because as you know, I've launched these new offers and I'm like doing that kind of thing. And you have a bunch of stuff going on too. And I realized that like little distractions can really kind of eat your time way more than you think they do. Like recently, I've gotten to golf a lot, and it's because I wanted to get a hobby that's not on my phone, and I don't drink when I play, so it's just like a sober thing to do outside, not on my phone.
Mm.
Then I realized, well, damn, this is like 6 hours a week, and I don't want to suck. So I want to get on my phone for like 5 hours, 7 hours, 10 hours and research golf so I can learn what I'm doing. And then it's like, well, then I have a night I'm drinking with my friends a week. And I'm like, wait a second, I'm doing like 40 hours a week of golf and drinking and being on YouTube, researching golf and stuff. And it's like, man, you're really cutting down a lot of time that I probably should be working. And then you just get tired. I golf for 4 hours or 3 hours or whatever. And then I get home and I'm tired. Or I drink a weekend, now I'm dead the next day. That type of thing. And I feel like I haven't really did a good job of getting the distractions out, to be honest.
Distractions are tough, especially, I mean, I'm doing like 3 or 4 almost major things, not even counting this podcast, and yeah, it's just so much to kinda take on, and I've been doing kinda similar. I've been just trying to do a lot of different I've been trying to walk a lot more, like, outside for at
Mhm.
least 45 minutes to an hour a day. I mean, it's good for steps, it's good for fitness and all that kinda stuff, but I think maybe it's just entrepreneurship in general, or we just like this stuff so much. I think when you want to build a successful business, like you were saying, you also want to be successful in golf. Like you don't want to suck at anything almost. And that's just
Yep.
kind of, I guess, building a business and kind of getting into that stuff. You just get this mentality that, like how do you grow a business? Well, you start watching content, you buy a course, you do it more. And I think that's kind of never almost leaves you, and I think it's hard to almost do that for so many projects, and that's kinda the dilemma I am in right now, which is, like, there's, like, so much going on, it's and giving focus to everything, and then eventually it's really hard to make everything grow, so you kinda have to make decisions on how to allocate the time.
Yeah, and when it comes to that stuff, like let's say it's distraction. Let's say you're like doing something that you like shouldn't be doing or whatever. Some kind of distraction. Are you like hard on yourself over it, or are you just like, whatever? Because I get really hard on myself of, damn it, I'm like not working as hard as I need to be. And I know there's other people
Yeah.
out there working way harder than me. Or do you kind of just like, whatever, I'm going to try to enjoy myself in the moment? Because I'm trying to get on that side, but I find it very difficult.
I feel like I go through seasons, or I feel like I go really hard and then I just kind of get burnt out and need to kind of take some just time off and just relax. It really depends on, I guess, the habit. Like if I'm just endlessly scrolling on like Instagram and TikTok, that's not good.
Yep.
Like, unless I'm, like, doing research or something to see, like, how other people are doing content or something like that. But for the most part, for me, I try to head it off and do math on it. So, for example, I'd be like, "Okay, so if you're scrolling," like, you could even see on your phone, like, how much time you spend on Instagram or whatever, and it's like, "Okay, if you're spending 2 hours a day, that's 10 hours a week. What's your time worth? Times that by 10, and then times that by 4, because that's the month, right? And then you can just multiply it out, and it kind of gets that part gets like in my head, it's like, wow, like you're really wasting a lot of time here and it really adds up. Um, but I don't know, it's just a hard thing, I think. Like you could only go so hard, I feel like. And I also think I've definitely fallen into this, and I mean, you obviously know it too. You know, what you see on social, how hard people are working, how much money they're making, is all kind of bullshit anyway. Like, we really don't know. Right?
Yeah.
Like, and what you think working hard is different for everyone. Like, if you think
Mhm.
working hard is working 12 hours a day, and I think it's working 8 hours a day, like, there's a big
Yeah,
discretion
it's
there.
huge.
Like, what is
Mhm.
it? Um, but I don't know. I think I've kind of changed a little bit about this. I think if you're getting done what you need to get done and you're happy with what you're doing, you're fine.
Mhm.
But if you want to like take it to another level and you're not putting in the work, then there's kind of the issue. And I guess it's also time horizon. Like Hermosi always talks about it. It's like, oh, I want to get rich. He's like, if you want to get rich in 10 years, like that's easy, right? Because
Mhm.
like you make it much long. If you want to make $1 million in 10 years, it's like, okay, like that seems pretty doable, like 100K a year, right? But if you're like, I want to do it tomorrow, then it's like, oh, you can't do anything but
Yeah,
work.
it's impossible. Yeah, I think trying to be I, I don't know, trying not to be hard on myself with that stuff. I think I watched a podcast one time with Theo Vaughn and Jameis Winston, and Jameis Winston was like, "You can't be your biggest fan and your worst enemy at the same time." And I think that sometimes that gets in my too. I'm like, I can't like be confident and be the biggest fan of myself, and then also be like super hard on yourself. Like you have to kind of pick one, like for the time. You can't just do it all the time. You just get too stuck in your head, and then what happens is you just don't do anything, which is probably
Yeah.
what happens to a lot of different people too. I'm sure I'm not the only one that suffers from this, but yeah, kind of also I think I'm a little more lax on it, especially after talking to Jameson. Like the last
Yeah.
podcast, he was saying this year I'm kind of taking it off. I'm not going that hard. Yeah, like I went really hard at the beginning of the year. Obviously, I've had to learn so much different shit, and I feel like I've came a decent way with it, which I'll get into that later on in the pod too. But it's like maybe I can take some time off and get back into this really hard, maybe in November or December or whatever. Maybe it is time to golf and just kind of like chill out for a bit and reset. Maybe get some more motivation and being like, I need to work. Like I'm kind of bored of doing fun stuff all the time.
Yeah, I have two things. So one thing I heard recently or saw it on Instagram maybe, it's if you wouldn't say it to a friend, don't say it to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you were giving advice to a friend, right, you wouldn't be like, oh, you're a freaking idiot. Like, why are you doing that? You'd be like, yo, dude, like if you want this, you
There
can't
you go.
do a lot of this. And so I think I need to do a better job of that because I'm always like in my head, I'm just like, oh, you gotta be doing this, you gotta be doing that. Like it's like, no, like as long as you're like okay where you're at right now, I think there are definitely seasons. Like this is a season for me to figure a lot of stuff out. So it's not going really heavy in one. It's really kind of spreading this stuff out and kind of see what grows. Even though people say not to do that, but it's just kind of where I'm at right now. And then I think too, yeah, I think you really need time to reset. Like this week, I basically didn't lift at all. Like I just been doing walking, like just kind of I feel like really good and then I feel sometimes you have to take it away. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you're just going to the gym every single day, that just wears on you. And then when you take it away, like in my head I'm like, "Oh, I want to lift again." It
Mm-hmm.
gets you like remotivated. It seems super counterintuitive, but I think sometimes when you take that away, you're like when you're complaining, oh, I hate going to the gym, I hate going to the gym, and then you kind of stop and you just walk. You're like, oh man, I kind of like miss going. Like, no, I do like this. I just needed a break. And that's kind of what I'm doing. I am speaking at the conference in Vegas, but I'm not doing anywhere. Like besides
Yep.
that, we're going a couple days early. I'm not thinking about anything. Like I'm just kind of chilling. And I think when I come back, I'm going to be really energized for Q4 and kind of everything else.
You probably get motivated too talking to all those people there, if I had to
Oh
guess.
yeah. I
Yeah.
always come back like it's a you get like when I was in Miami, it was like wow, because you just get this energy of it's like everyone there understands you and what you're trying to do. it's like it's not like you're talking to family. It's like everyone really wants their business to grow. Everyone's trying to learn. Everyone's kind of like a similar, like imagine everyone who listens to this podcast and is into it, like meet up together. Like
Yep.
it's crazy because we have a huge common interest, but like a lot of the reasons why like you listen to this podcast or I consume other content is because it's like, wow, like I want to do that, or I agree with that person. Like I want to hear what they have to say. And I think if you could get around like a lot of people like that, um, yeah, it just really gets you motivated. And you kind of see the behind the scenes. Like I did a call with someone the other day because I was trying to figure something out, and I was like, yo, can I talk to you for like 30 minutes? We ended up talking for an hour, and it turns out he's like, oh, I had the same exact problem as you. But you would never know that. He's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's totally normal. Like, don't worry about that. This is kinda how I deal with it. This is how I think about it." And I was like, "Wow," like, 'cause you never see anyone on social media be like, "Oh, this is so hard. Like, my life is so bad." It's all like, "Come on, like, let's go. Like, life's amazing." All this other stuff. So I think you need to once you see the behind the scenes and people are like, "Yeah, returns are, like, killing me," or like, I mean, you knew some of this stuff Jameson said after we talked to him, right? Like, just like stuff like that. You're like, oh, okay, got it. And it's just
Yep.
super helpful to be like, I feel like it's like when I asked my trainer, I was like, oh man, like, are you ever like sore or just tired? He's like, all the time. Yeah, I thought there was something with me. He's like, yeah, if you're like working hard and trying to like make gains and stuff, like you're gonna be sore and tired. It's like,
Mhm.
okay. And then when you are, you're like, this is normal. He said this is normal, then you're good.
Yep. 100%. Well, one thing when you brought up who listens, I do. If you guys are listening to this right now, drop a comment on why you listen to this podcast
Ooh,
because
I like that.
I was just thinking the other day because people ask us like, "Oh, who's your audience?" And like, I don't even know because we don't really talk about Amazon that much. Although we do have a lot of Amazon people on, but then when they're on, they're not really talking about it like that. I don't know. I'm interested to hear like who even listens because we have like you were saying your YouTube analytics. There's like more people that listen to the podcast than even a normal video. So
Yeah.
obviously people are listening to it for something. So let us know what you got, why you guys even listen to us, or if I don't know, you're all bots or something. Maybe no one listens to us. We'll see.
Yeah.
But another thing I wanted to talk about that is the offer, the fitness one. I checked the stats. I woke up Sunday morning and I had a sale for the upsell. So I got like a $297 sale,
Nice.
and that makes the last 45 days, maybe even 60 days. I didn't look back 2 months profitable on the front end, which
Wow.
is crazy. So yeah, I'm like $650. The last 30 days, I'm $650 spend and like 800 some revenue and $750 profit on the $750 net revenue. So it's like $100 profit. Now, if you count in all the softwares I'm paying for and that stuff, I'm still negative, but directly adds to revenue. I'm profitable in the last 30, 60 days, which is crazy because I thought that was going to be forever. The point is not just to make it profitable either. I mean, the point is to get high ticket clients, but you know, that'll come. And if you get one client that's $3,000 or $5,000 or whatever, then I'm mega profitable. So I feel pretty damn good about that now. And I think I've cracked the ad stuff like pretty well.
That's
That makes me feel
awesome.
good. Yeah, because you've seen me struggle with this shit for like 6 months now. So not seeing just like a profitable venture that I'm not just losing loads of money every day makes me feel very good.
Yeah, and it should. And I think that's kind of a big lesson for if you want the exact spreadsheet I have used to sell over $3 million on Amazon, how I track my buys, how I track my best sources, where I put links to my favorite sites. I have a spreadsheet that I've spent the last 2-3 years building. If you want access to it, it is absolutely free. Just go to the free resources section down below this video. 100% free. Now let's get back to the podcast. For like everyone, when you're like 6 months. Someone said this the other day. I forgot. It might have been Amazon Lit or whatever. It's just like you have to reset your expectations like so hard when you're starting a business. He made the analogy. He's like, you go to college for 4 years. Whether that's a
Mhm.
good decision or a bad decision, you're basically in school your whole life. And you want to build this business in 2 months. And it's
Mhm.
just like, are you kidding me? Like, you were cool doing like school for 4 years to like build yourself up and like get skills. So like, shouldn't you be cool with spending 4 years on the business to like build it up and like acquire skills or whatever? So I think that's like really interesting, and I think that's probably a lot of people who start an Amazon business or anything. It's just gonna take time. You're gonna be losing money for like the first 3 months.
Yep.
Hopefully not big money, but like if you're gonna get software, if you're going to buy like a Rolo printer and stuff like that, um, it just takes money. And I think, yeah, you just have to be confident enough to keep going, I feel like. And it seems like, I guess for context too, you were losing like what, like $100 a day.
Yeah, probably like 60.
Yeah, so 60. So that's a little, not that that's great, but it's a little easier to
Yeah.
swallow than losing like, you have a bad ace in tank, you're losing like 1 to 2K.
Yeah.
That's
Which
painful.
which I did pay people to do certain things with the website. Like I'm down in the hole right now with the whole thing. But I think the big lesson that I've taken from it, and I hope I'm right about this. I mean, this is just like me talking. This literally is just now happening. So I could look back in a few months and think I'm an idiot. But I think this happens with all businesses. There's like big inflection points that happen that like change the trajectory of what you're doing. So like the whole time I've been learning, all this different stuff, and two things have came together in the past probably month, 30 or 20 to 30 days or whatever. I don't know exact time frame that have really just like taken this thing off. And it was just adding a certain context to the offer and certain pictures to the offer. And then also figuring out the ad stuff. Like if I wouldn't have figured out the ad stuff, that could have took me all year to even get close to that. And now
Yeah.
I know that I can take probably any offer and I know how to run the ads for it. And I know this too because I just launched the other offer that I talked about, the girl one, and the ads on that are performing better than the ads on the fitness offer. But the problem is the website is shitty with the other one, and like the offer I don't think is dialed in enough, so I have to work on that later in the week. But ad costs are way lower. And the way that I've segmented it all out, like I'm getting better data already on that than I do on the other one. So like I just repeated the process and it's better like already. I think the more I do it, like if I think I could run ads for someone if they had, a lot of creatives, that type of thing with this like system that I know. So the inflection point is just like, as soon as I learned that, it probably changed the whole trajectory of how all this was going to go. And I
I
need
think,
now it's like I need to find more inflection points. It's kind of the goal.
yeah, I think for you too, those huge inflection points came from getting help.
Yeah, I paid a lot of
Yeah,
money. Yeah.
you paid a lot of money to do it originally, and then when you did the hot seat with the guy, you were like, we both totally missed that. Everyone who looked at it missed it. Or then when you heard it, you were like,
Yeah,
huh,
duh.
yeah, duh. And then the other point was talking to the guy who helped you run the ads, and
Yep.
that kind of like solved a lot of problems. So I feel like sometimes you just have to, it's a hard thing to do. Like you're already like majorly in the hole, and then to pay someone like 800 to $1,000 to hop on a call to try to figure out some other shit, not knowing if you're either going to better your position. Like obviously you think you will
Yeah.
because believe in it, but I think that is where a lot of people struggle. It's just like, you can get on a call with someone. Everyone has a price, and I know you've talked about it on the podcast too. Like even if it's not like Alan, there's so many people that Alan taught that offer calls that
Yep.
not as good, but like for your budget, it will get you to the next step to maybe get all the way up to kind of like the group you're in or whatever. And I think you just have to be able to, I don't know, see the downside and the upside. And it's like, oh, downside, this person's an idiot, and I'm out $500. And you're kind of still in the same situation that you are. But if that $500 turns into like the things that makes the ads profitable, then that call is worth whatever offers you run in the past in the future. I mean, because that's what helped you figure it out.
Yeah. I think that I've never had a big problem with paying for that kind of stuff. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just like less risk adverse or whatever the correct terminology is there. But I just don't really care because I do know that I can pay someone and get like a massive piece of information that could just change my whole life. I paid some girl last year. I don't even know if I told you about this, but I paid this girl $750 for a call. She was like a social media thing. is the biggest fucking waste of money ever. Like I didn't learn one thing. Like literally, she gave me like a content system, which is actually pretty valuable. I just forgot I even had it, so I just brought that up. But it was just like how to organize your content for all these different platforms. But I could have found something like that on the internet. Like it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And I learned that I knew like more than she did, like on the call about like what I was specifically calling her about. But it's whatever. It's like, okay, now I just lost $750, but I also know not to talk to people like that again. Like you also learn who to talk to in the future. And now it's like, I just search out people that I know are killing it. And then I'm like, okay, how much can I pay you to just like talk to you, dude? And then just get the call recorded and that kind of thing. And then it's like, now you have a little course you've kind of built out. And I can just help other people in the future with the same information. But
I've been
I've
doing
never
that a
really been.
lot on social too now. Like before getting on something or buying something, I'll DM some, like usually like I want to buy something because I either hear someone say something about it or I see, I just hopped off of a call with blah blah blah. I'm like, who is this person? Like, because we're doing similar things, and I'll DM them like, oh, how was the call? Like, was it helpful? And it's like, it was all right. I'm like, pass on that. Where the course, like, I could have figured it out. Like, not that
Yep.
great. So I feel like that's always super helpful too. If you could like tap in, I feel like the maybe not the best way to do it is I've definitely gotten some bad stuff. Is if you post on Instagram, it's like, oh, do you know anyone who knows how to run ads? Like, you're gonna get swamped by a bunch of people who don't know how to run ads.
Yep.
But sometimes it works out. But for the most part, referrals are the best, or kind of being in a community, um, and then kind of finding people in there who could help.
Yep. What kind of topics do you want to bring up? Because I have a few more things, but I'll let them naturally integrate because I don't even know how to bring them up. So what do you have?
Uh, so I just randomly found this question. So, what do you think the hardest part about being an entrepreneur is?
I actually love it. So I don't find too many things hard, but the hardest thing is just not knowing what to do.
Mhm.
Like you like having no certainty of what's going to happen is just extremely hard. Like, and I handle it well. Like I feel like I'm way better at it than most people because I live super unstable right now, as you know. But I think that's definitely the hardest part because we're just so conditioned to just, you study in school, you take your test, like you know what to do. The test isn't going to come and it's going to be different than what you studied. If so, usually everybody fails and the teacher just gives the exam again. Or when you go to your 9 to 5 job, like as long as you don't do something stupid and you suck at your job, you're not going to get fired. Like life is just really, really stable these days. And I think as soon as you start becoming an entrepreneur, things are just super not stable. And you have to be able to handle it. And most people can't handle it at all. So
That's kind of where I'm at, because someone asked that on a podcast. I'm like, oh wow, that's a really great question, and I think that's the hard part too, is like the stability. Even when at probably your height of selling on Amazon, right? Like you don't know if you're gonna find shit tomorrow, or you're gonna get suspended, or what. Like you don't think you are, or like you're like, oh, I'm good at sourcing, so I'm gonna find some stuff, or like maybe you hit a dry spell, and then it's like, ooh, maybe I can't do this. And I
yep.
think it's that, just like that game in your head. And I think we talked a lot about it like in the early days of the podcast, like just getting just like almost destroyed, and how to handle the losses and just kind of, I don't know, deal with it. I feel like that is kind of like the hardest part for me too, is just, I guess I actually, someone got a job at a 9 to 5, and I thought it was super interesting because they were saying they took the job mainly because the company laid out, they're like, hey, if you stay here for 5 years, like this is what the trajectory looks like. Like as long as you hit your goals, like this will be your salary year 5. I'm like,
Yep.
what a smart idea, because one, if you're into that salary, you're gonna want to stick around and do, like, it's not like you go to work, because I worked at a company like this. It's like, oh, if the company had a good year, you get a bonus. But
Yep.
like how much it was, what percentage it was, what is it tied to? Like you have no idea, and you don't get to see the financials throughout the year either. So like you have no idea where the company stands, or like when you make, like there's usually not, unless you're working for a huge company, there's usually not like a ladder or like steps you step up. From my experience anyway, it's just like you eventually complain to your boss, and they're like, all right, we'll give you some more money, and like nothing really changes. Um So I think that is the hard part. Obviously, you can make as much as you want, but I think discipline is the hardest part. Like for me right now, and probably for you when you started, it's like, what should I be doing every day? And it's hard when you don't kind of have like a path or almost a mentor that you could follow. Um, but yeah, I feel like that's kind of the hard part, or kind of like I feel like the influencer program has been like really good, but there's not like a clear path for like someone who's really, really like an Amazon lit of the influencer program, right? So there's just lots of courses and stuff like that, which are really good, but I don't know. It's also really new. So it's hard for someone, I don't know, to have really crushed it and have continued crushing it to see what the trajectory is. Like everyone was complaining in this group that I'm in that like commissions are down. And someone's like, oh yeah, commissions were down this time last year. Well, like if you're in your first year, you don't know that. Like like if you start selling at Amazon in like February, it's like the worst time to start. 'Cause it's gonna
Yep.
be the slowest. There's not a lot of sales left. So yeah, I think just not knowing or knowing that plus also you're your own boss. Like you can kind of do so if you get into like a bad rut where you're not doing anything, that will probably destroy you
Yep.
for sure.
I never said this on a podcast previously, I don't think, but you're talking about like the instability even of Amazon. I remember, and this should resonate with any of you guys watching this still sell on Amazon. I remember vividly every single week at the start of the week, I thought I'm never going to find anything profitable again. Like this is the end. I suck at this stuff. It would happen every single week. And then I'd go on and spend 50 grand that week. But like every week I would start over with, what if I don't find anything after this week? Like, what if it's all over for me? So I would consider that if you guys are ever feeling down about the sourcing stuff too. Like just remember that I did $2 million a year and I thought every week that I'd never find anything again. So that I still struggled with that even like towards the end of it. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
but if I just never find another profitable thing, and then you just keep working, you keep finding stuff. But yeah, the stability never really comes, I don't think. And I'm sure there's certain business models where there's like more stability, but overall, anything can be pulled out from under you at any time.
I think
And
we're also so dependent now on other platforms. Like no matter what you do, it doesn't matter what you like if you can't run Facebook ads anymore, like I guess you have to go to Twitter or something else. But if you spent all this time running Facebook ads and now you got to pivot, right? Or if your account gets shut down or payment processors and stuff like that, like that's like kind of the scariest part, I guess, maybe of like maybe that's the scare or the hardest part is the ability to know that one company could basically shut you down and your
yeah,
business would be screwed. I mean, even if you had a brick and mortar, like if the laundry company or like your food, you run a restaurant and the supplier's like, well, we're going out of business. Well, you got to find like another food supplier. Like it's just never stable, I feel like. So you just always got to like try to do the best you can and roll with the punches.
yeah, 100%. I had some kind of thought right there. We were talking about the Oh yeah, yeah. I've learned too. I mean, I got a new payment processor recently, and if the Facebook thing gets shut down, I'm running like Facebook ads on an account, and then I have a whole server which is on my computer. I can pull it up right now if I wanted to, and it's a whole different computer. So like I do have like these backup things. So with that stuff, it's nice because you can actually set up like a whole backup situation, which I'm sure you can do that with Amazon too. But maybe I don't know, maybe the people working on the Facebook ad stuff and the ad, obviously the whole thing's bigger. So
Um,
like you have more people in different countries and everybody like trying to circumvent these different problems that pop up. I think Amazon will probably have that eventually to where if your account gets shut down, you can open up another one pretty quickly, that type of thing. Because the way that I've got this thing set up, 100% I could open up a new Amazon account under the same like computer and I wouldn't get caught. Now, I mean, you just have to have the right like identification to get it to work. So there is a way to get around a lot of those bans and stuff, but it's not easy. Another thing, though, that's what I was thinking about. The hardest thing, and this is like a real black pill truth type thing, I think, is the hardest part of this business stuff, and that it will continue to get harder, is the competitiveness of it. Like this stuff, I've noticed it really big after I've ventured out into other things. I noticed it with Amazon, obviously. That's why I stopped. But Like I noticed it even in the other things. It's like there are so many people trying to do what you're trying to do right now. Like it's never been like this, and it grows like exponentially. Like there's so many people online trying to make stuff work. And then another thing is people aren't leaving because it's all skews relatively young. Like even 30, 40 years is young compared to, the average human. But now we have kids that are 12 years old, 13 years old, 15 years old doing more stuff and more stuff. And they have even more time than people older. I noticed I just joined a Discord the other day and there was like 1,300 people in there, like kids, and they're doing all this different crazy shit to make money. And I'm like, holy shit, man. Like it's just so competitive. That's the scary part about it. I think even tying it back at the beginning, when I get distracted or get like tough to be motivated, I think like it just overwhelms you because you're like, there's so many people out there trying to do the same thing and they're probably not even feeling this right now, which they probably actually are feeling the same thing. But yeah, I think the competitiveness is just getting worse and worse. And that kind of pushes me to not try to think too long term. Because I could be burning opportunity because it's never going to be easier than it is right now. That is a fact. And it's only going to get exponentially harder, especially with AI as well. Like with
I think
that
that's
comes
everything. Like
yeah.
fitness, like eventually you're gonna get old. Like so like today's workout is probably the easiest it's gonna be
Yeah.
for me.
Well,
Like
you're not competing against anybody else, luckily, with that kind of thing. But
yeah,
yeah.
that's true. But yeah, I agree too. And I think I think it's happening so much quicker now too, because if someone wanted to start Amazon, if they could just watch my channel the last 3 years, right?
Yep.
And go through all the content as where someone else was starting, if that channel is not around. I mean, there's other content or whatever, but like there's so much content now. I guess now the key is what do you listen to?
Yeah, that's the hard
Or
part.
like
But
who's legit or who's not, or what works or what doesn't work, or what's fluff.
yeah, I just think that if you stay in these like in the game long enough, you just are going to end up learning it anyways. Like if you're meant to make it, if you got that personality, you're just going to get through the people that like aren't that valuable to listen to. They just keep kind of moving forward. So yeah, but that is a concern. I think that that's online business. I mean, honestly, it's probably the alternative for in person. It's probably the best time ever to start an in person business, but in the online might be like easier barrier of entry, but with the competitiveness of everything, I think that's not getting much easier. And I think you definitely have to be aware of it because it's just not going to be like what you think it is. And even these things on social media, they're just like a bit outdated. Like I even said, the 3 to 6 month thing. I like thought that was going to be the reality, but I've been doing this shit for like 8 months. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm profitable, but I ain't rich. And everybody's like, yeah, 6 months you get 10K a month. Certain models, yeah, and certain people maybe, but like if you're trying to learn a big plethora of skills and build something really big, yeah, right. 3 to 6 months is not going to like get you there. You can't even get enough without the money. You can't even get enough traffic. You can't even build a good enough product to kind of do that in that short period of time. If you don't have money, especially
Yeah,
if you don't
that's a
have
really good point too.
and
Yeah, if you
skill.
don't have capital, it doesn't
Yeah, if
matter.
you don't I have capital. Luckily, I'm building skills, and I can build a team relatively easy if I needed to. But if you don't have any of that stuff, yeah, you're playing on like a really slowed down timeline and everybody's moving really fast.
Yeah, I agree.
What else? What other things do you have to talk about?
I don't know. Have you seen a lot of kind of like what do you think about Amazon Twitter right now? If you're still listening to the podcast at this point, you are into it and a fan, and we really appreciate that. If you could do us a solid and like, subscribe, and do all that stuff, it really helps the podcast grow. And secondly, if you could tag us on Instagram, just take a picture of what part you are at the podcast. If you like it, tell us what you think about it. Tag me at Side Hustle Experiment, and I will definitely share it. Now let's get back to the podcast. Do you still like go on Twitter and see it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not on there as much anymore. My Twitter's more like political right now. Like, I don't really see much of that stuff unless somebody brings it up. Like, you'll say it to me, and sometimes I'll like already saw it. But yeah, I think that's just a product of what the social media stuff's rewarding right now. Which that it's like kind of sad, but that's why I'll get into tweeting for a little bit and then I just kind of stop because it's just not the same. Like the algorithm is different. It did change. It just promotes things that get more comments and cause more controversy. Like if you can't make somebody angry on there, it's just really tough. Like you don't really see the same type of stuff going viral as it used to. Even a valuable tweet. Like the only time a value tweet's going to go viral is if it has like a retweet and comment for a PDF type thing. So
Yeah.
things have just changed where it's like this engagement type thing is just way more pushed. And you're competing, I think, on a bigger like a larger level. Like you're competing against Taylor Swift and politics and that type of stuff instead of just like the people in your niche. It's just a little bit different. That's why all that stuff's happening, because these guys are just like fueling this drama and fueling all this bad stuff. But it's whatever. I don't find it very interesting. I think it's kind of lame. But I used to be that guy, so maybe that's why I'm like I'm a grumpy old man now. But I think it's just a bit lame. And these guys just don't understand too that they're pushing a lot of traffic to these people.
Yeah.
Like you push 100 people to hate somebody, yeah, maybe 90 do, but 10 like them, and then 3 buy from them. So you just made them like a lot of money.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. I remember listening to a podcast, and or it was Hormozy was interviewed or something, and he was like, if anyone like ever came after me, or I remember saying he bought a piece of gym equipment or something. The company like totally screwed him over, and he's like, I'm not even gonna say the company's name because they're gonna get publicity. And one, they screwed me, so I don't even want to give them that. And two, you guys are gonna probably buy from them. Like a certain percentage will be like, whatever, like I'll give it a shot. And then you're gonna blame me when it goes. So like by not calling them out by name, which is like the natural thing to do. And then he was talking about on another podcast, if someone basically slandered him, he's like, I would totally ignore it. I wouldn't even give them the time of day because it just amplifies. It's like, why would I email my list that this person is doing this? Because everyone's going to go look at that person. And so the best way to do it, I think a lot of the hate that a lot of the people are getting, I think they're doing a pretty good job of just ignoring it.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I saw something one, I don't remember who said this, but it was somebody CoffeeZilla had done a video on, and they were doing, I think they were doing around $1 million a month, so like 12 mil a year, some kind of like, guru type guy. And he had said on a podcast that after CoffeeZilla made that video, his business like 10x, and they started doing $10 million a month. So this whole thing to like take him down on these like hate exposed type things, 10x'd his business. And he was like, I couldn't even handle the amount of inquiries I was getting for the business. Because what will happen is just it's just like the law of averages. Like even if you have all these people hating, there will be a certain amount of people that are curious and that don't think in the way of just like hate everything. I know that too because I've experienced this type of stuff myself. But yeah, like I think they just don't understand that, maybe the hating thing, or maybe they're trying to like save. I don't know. I don't know the whole, if it's for their own benefit or if it's to help other people. I'm unsure really. What do you think? What do you think the whole motivation is behind it?
To sell something the opposite for the most part.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't think, I haven't seen that happen. So I don't know.
I haven't, but I don't know why else he would do it. Like,
well, they're
why?
faceless.
Well, yeah, that's okay. That's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it almost seems. I think you're right. The algorithm is definitely different. That stuff doesn't take off like it used to. It's still getting better engagement than like, hey, like here's how to make a shipment or something like that. But it's not like skyrocketing. But
well, I think that, I think the opposite. I think
really?
that stuff is skyrocketing. I mean, it is skyrocketing. Those
I
engagement
guess,
on those
but
groups,
like compared to what it used to do, like not even close. Like engagement, likes, views is probably like half.
you should check it, dude. That AI video you sent me the other day, that shit had probably over 100,000 views.
Yeah, that one was pretty crazy.
Yeah, but those things, I was saying the
That's
opposite.
fair.
I think that stuff used to do decent in the past, but now it does really well because of the algorithm. Like that, because if you get on like TikTok too, it's always some kind of controversy or something. Like that, I think it's gotten worse. Like the value stuff just isn't going to work as much anymore because there's so many people kind of saying the same thing. But these controversies, like brand new, like whoa, like I have to engage with this. I'm angry or I'm happy or I agree with that person or I disagree with that person. That's kind of how it is. That's the only reason those accounts are like thriving like that is because of the algorithm. If it was like that in the past, actually we know this because there's been accounts like that in the past that have tried that stuff and they die every time. But
Okay,
nowadays,
that's fair. That's good. That's fair.
yeah, nowadays it's working. In the past, it didn't really work. There was I don't know, there's some guy. He was on Twitter doing the same type of thing, but it would just die out because no one really gave a shit about it. And it didn't get amplified because to get amplified before you needed a retweet or you needed a response from a big account. Nowadays, it's not as much like that. Like I had I had a tweet the other day where some big account retweeted me, and then Miles replied to me, and the thing had like 3,000 views. I was like, dude, I remember I got retweeted by some like big guru like a few years ago when I was on Twitter, and it shot the tweet. I've got like 200 likes on Twitter, 150 likes, and it was at 10. And this one retweet just exploded the thing because all of their followers saw it. Well, nowadays it's not like that because you don't have a following thing; you just have the For You page. So it's just a little different now. But yeah, that was a big rant about the algorithm. But yeah, it's like that on Instagram and TikTok too, which I don't know. I'm sure you can play into it. That's the one positive about it, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And we see these people, we have them on the pod, all these people talking about how they, that woman, what's her name? That crazy flipping mom. That
Yeah,
was such an eye opener. She's like, yeah, I want hate on my posts. If they're not getting hate on them, I know they're not going to go viral. I'm like, damn, that is so brutal. And then who did we talk to the other day that was saying, Rakin? He was saying that his stupid content was getting all these views and the normal content was just like getting nothing.
I will have to say that's probably one of the most frustrating things about Instagram right now. Like if you try to make like the videos I used to make answering like questions or giving like a valuable piece of advice for 30-40 seconds, those are lucky to like I don't even know what those views. But I posted a picture of a tree, a pink tree in New York City that we came across, and it got like 5,000 views. It was like one of those like 2 or 3 second ones, and it's like it was like, oh, in order I tied it to like if you want to like succeed on Amazon, you need to be different. Like you just can't be like everyone else. And that one crushed it. And so I'm like, maybe I just need to do more stuff like that. Like all you see for like all the content now is usually someone in a store, someone carrying a bunch of boxes, um a label printer printing labels. Those tend to do good. And a picture of like a big warehouse. And it's all like a 2 or 3 second, and it's like more below. Like read below. And it's like, dang, like that's the new or comment whatever, and I'm gonna send you XYZ.
I wonder how that content converts. I'm a little curious of like, I wonder how much a 2 second video of some like motivational thing would convert to like the people trying to get coaching clients or whatever, which that was probably a good question to ask Grant Owen, but I don't know if he would also give an honest answer because that is the business he's in. So maybe he would want to actually give the answer on that. But I think that
it's a numbers game. Like more views.
But it doesn't always equal that for sure. I'm glad you just said that. I'm going to have a tweet about that sometime soon. I can break it down into like actually, make it make sense. But I know this because I run that fitness Instagram page, and I get every video gets over 15,000 views, and I have one the other day get like 250,000. Those videos convert 0 people to a free email list that I'm trying to get them on. Like I'll get 3 emails at the most. Like, so I can barely convert out of these hundreds of thousands of viewers on this thing. But then I'll run ads and I'll get, 1,000 views paying $60, like a high CPM, and then get 40 link clicks or 50 link clicks and then convert 3, 4, 5 customers, like almost a 10% conversion on 50 people rather than and 1,000 total even viewers on the ad. So it's all about who sees the ad, I think, not how many people see the ad or see the content in general, right?
Yeah,
but that makes sense because imagine if you showed this podcast to like 200 people who are doctors. They would turn this shit off in like 4 seconds. Yeah. Right? But if you show it to 200 Amazon sellers, then you might have like 50% of them or 40% of them stay for a really long time. So it's kind of about who sees it rather than how many people see it.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I've been doing more because I have definitely noticed when the content's more educational, definitely get DMs about it or questions about it, which is good. So I've kind of shied away from kind of doing the like something like the tree or something like that, just because it's like, oh, like this isn't what I'm trying to do here. But yeah, that's definitely interesting. I'd be interested to see as well.
Yeah, it's also like a funnel. So I mean, you do have top of funnel content. Like this is what Hormozy, how he used to make the gym content and the like food and stuff, and now he's like, I'm only making business content, and that I guess that advice makes sense, like to only focus on your niche, but also the reason he's so big is because of all that other content. Like you kind of get that top of funnel to bring in as many people as possible, and then you have the middle to educate the people, and then the bottom of the funnel to obviously sell them.
Yeah.
So I guess you could look at it like that. If you do, a certain amount of posts per week, top of funnel content that are going to go like kind of viral, and then your middle of funnel, even if you don't get a lot of views, it converts better, or it gets more DMs,
Yeah.
or whatever your metric is for that. I would assume. I don't know.
Yeah, controversy is definitely, I think, key for sure. I started to notice that a lot too, kind of like these hot takes or whatever. I would be interested to see, like you were saying, how do those really convert?
Yeah,
But
I don't know. Because you gotta have that. Who's the audience watching that type of stuff too? I'm not on Instagram like ever, and I was never on the Amazon Instagram, so I don't know what kind of content people make. Now I look at the only person I watch on Instagram now is Crazy Flippin' Mom when I'm on there, because I do like to see, like after hearing her say that stuff, like, oh, what is her motivation for doing this? I saw the other day she like dressed up in a Spider-Man suit and did something, and I was like, I know that got a bunch of views. It had to.
oh, it's so dead. It got a ton of hate.
Yeah, see exactly.
So
See,
much hate.
but that's like her goal. She knows what she's doing, big time.
Sure.
Yeah. What else you got? Any other cool questions?
Oh, do you have anything else?
Not a ton, really. I was gonna somehow tie in the AI stuff to this, because I do think that the AI thing's growing more and more. I see on Twitter a lot now, like the coding, like it's getting really, really, really easy to code like big programs with AI.
Really?
And I did this myself. I don't know if I talked about it on here. I think I did, where I found this guy was going to charge $1,500 for a program, and I saw somebody be like, "You can just have ChatGPT make it." I made it in 2 hours, and now I still use it. And it cleans videos, so like it'll scrape content that I give it, and it'll clean the video, which is like removing the data from it, removing the music from the background, adding in different music, that type of thing, and then I can repost it as a whole new video on my page. And it's like 5x my views, because my views were falling off, and I wasn't sure why. I think it was because I was reposting videos that already had like the metadata. Like you can't just repost the same video over and over. You have to clean the video. But I made this program in no time, and I can use it right now. I could sell it, I guess, if I wanted to. But yeah, and I see people creating these like massive things with like coding them, and they don't even know how to code, like at all.
Wow. I think that's really cool. If you could, I wonder if you could. That would be crazy if like ChatGPT could almost build like something like a tactical arbitrage or something, or like could do like a sourcing. I don't really know how that would work.
100%, you can do it. I posted that in your group. I sent something, and I was like, "You guys, like, I haven't played with this, and nor do I even have."
Oh,
like,
that's right. Yeah. It was like that bot. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, if you're an Amazon person, 100% you should be into that. Like, I know for a fact you could code something with cloud specifically. ChatGPT is fine, but cloud's even better. And code something to where it'd be like you click a button, literally it'll scan a whole website for products and cross reference it. Like, I know you could do it. It might be a little difficult, but I see programs popping up a lot. I saw a few on Twitter, like these sourcing AI programs. I don't know how good they are. And what's that, Nepedo? They do something like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Similar.
if you could add your own touch to it, that'd be the key. It's like if you knew something about websites, that maybe about a certain website or whatever, that it's not super publicly available, that would be the key. Yeah. And then to mass scrape the data like that, I think.
That would probably be pretty good, because you could like mass scrape data from a website that you knew you could get like coupon codes for.
Yeah, exactly.
And then somehow do the math, like, all right, everything 30% off.
Yep.
Compare this to Amazon, and then spit this out into a spreadsheet or something like that.
Yeah. And if anybody's listening this far and you guys are interested in doing this for Amazon, go to Cloud. It's like, it might be cloud.com. I don't know. Look at CLAUDE. That's the best one for this type of thing. And just type in like what we're talking about. Like, say I'm an Amazon seller that does online arbitrage, and I like to shop at like these websites. I'm trying to code a bot that does this. Like, be very, very specific and see if it's even possible. And I'm sure it is. Like, guarantee it. I'll tell you an example. Like, this is relatively complicated that I did today. I looked up, I found a website that you can copy all the text from a landing page. So there's a landing page that I like that I'm trying to like use kind of for my offer. So I copy all the text, I plug it into Cloud, and I say, hey, I have an offer that's similar to this in this niche. Ask me whatever questions you need, and then we'll convert all the text into my offer. So I can kind of swipe the landing page, and then I can edit
Yeah.
it the way I want it to. And it asked me 10 different questions. I put it in, and then it just spit out all the copy in the exact same layout as the other website. Now the next thing I have to do is, how do I actually like steal this website's layout and add it to my own thing? That can't be that complicated. And I'm not going to like steal everything from it. I'm not saying that, but swipe it is what it's called. It's like swipe the whole landing page, and then I put my copy on there.
Think
Bang.
you'd be able to, because like you could see the source code
Yep.
any
Exactly.
website. So if it took that and was able to, I don't know, clean something out or maybe match your theme, or
Yep. Take
I
the
don't
images
know what it
out.
would do.
Yep.
But
How
yeah,
did you
that'd
play?
be pretty insane.
Yeah, and I know you can do it. You can do it easy, but I've got to figure that part out probably after this. But yeah, because I mean, if you find something that's converting really well and it's like similar to what you're trying to do, you know, all you need to do is just like swipe the general template and then just put your stuff on it, and not steal the stuff or you get sued. But you know, the
Yeah,
template.
you definitely don't want to be doing that. Yeah, that is kind of, I don't know, not scary, but I mean, I think that is probably like the future for sure. It would be awesome, like if you just build kind of software. Oh, who owns it though? Do you know? Like,
Cloud?
do you own it? I guess.
Wait, what?
Like, let's say if like the cloud or whatever cloud
Yeah,
created
you own it. Yes.
software, you own it.
Yeah, you own it. Yeah, I think that's a good question. I'm pretty
Because
sure you do.
it's
I mean,
like,
it's on my
oh,
computer.
like, yeah, I'd be like weird. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, one thing that just made me think about this. I saw this guy in one of the groups I'm in. He was saying that he's doing something. He's trying to build 50 offers in a certain period of time. And he has these like, he's completely coded out these AI agents to build out websites, products, VSLs, TSLs, and then he does all the images on his own. So he uses Canva to make his own images and make like the themes for these things. But he's built like 16 so far, and he's trying to build 50 and then run ads to all of them, and then the winning offers he can just scale up on his own. But he's like, his mindset, I guess, is if I can just code these AI bots to like create offers a little bit, put them in a certain market, create the whole website, create everything, and then do it that way. And he's like, if I can get out 100 offers this year and like 2 of them work, then I have like $2 million a year businesses on my end, which is crazy.
Yeah, because
I don't
that'd
know
be,
how it'll work.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That would be crazy.
Yeah. And I know it's possible because
Wow.
I use AI for like everything I'm doing. So I know if I was a little bit smarter with that stuff, it would work.
Yeah, I guess you could. That'd be crazy if you could take your offer. So if you take the fitness one, and be like, apply this to like fashion, apply this to this, apply this to that, and then it made all these lookalikes. Now they might not be that great, but if you could run, I don't know, Facebook ads to them just to get an idea to see what might be the next path to go, or just get a
Yep.
tiny bit of insight. But yeah, if you got to write all the copy yourself, code the whole website yourself, like it would take you forever.
Yep. Yeah, but if you can just generate them on command, yeah, it'd be pretty cool. I don't know. I probably won't even get into that because I feel like I have to have way more of knowledge of the AI stuff, which I want to in the future because I do think it is the future. I think it's going to replace everything, but not at the moment. Maybe that's a future endeavor to take on.
I feel like you already know like a lot about it though.
Yeah, decent. I just wish I knew more about the coding situation of it, like the stuff I was just talking about. If I knew that, it would be like a superpower. And maybe I will.
Yeah.
I'm sure it wouldn't take long. You can learn that stuff in like a week.
Yeah, I would
Another
definitely be like more interested to like, yeah, look into that stuff more. And it should be interesting though, like what would happen though, like because like as it just creates more and more content, and I don't know,
Yeah.
you're not just gonna be able to sift through it, or I don't know, maybe it just becomes better than that. Like do you think like an AI could be better than Alan?
No. I mean, I just think that what'll happen is there'll be so much content with all this stuff. Like, and I've talked about this on the pod, like, same way with content. Like, so much content right now is AI generated, whether it's an article or a tweet or an Instagram post. Like, all this stuff is very AI generated. Even if
True.
you use ChatGPT, to just say like one little thing, but that's AI generated, right? Like, you didn't write it on your own. What'll
True.
happen is like there'll be so much saturation of this stuff, but it'll just have to be super unique stuff that wins. Like it'll have to be a very unique angle on some for people to relate to it. Because eventually it'll just be like there's just too much stuff to consume. And
I
that we
do
were kind of already there. We
I
are already
do
there.
wonder if there'll be like almost something where you'll have like a profile or something. And like for example, like you could download this podcast and feed it the chat GPT and say, hey, based on my goals and what I'm trying to do, should I listen to this podcast?
Yeah, we could do that now.
Yeah, true. But
Yeah.
like I feel like that's gonna be the future. Like you're gonna buy like a course. I was like, all right, like go through this whole course, spit out like the things that make the most sense for me, or you think are like the most interesting or most helpful. If I'm
Yeah.
trying to do X, Y, Z, and they're like, all right, like check out, chapter 3. Like that's kind of the where you need to go.
Yeah. As soon as the AI stuff is able to hold a lot of memory, like as soon as I can tell it something today, it'll remember it in 4 months from now. Like it actually remembers it too, not just like remembers little pieces of it. Because from my understanding at the moment, all this AI stuff, there's not a huge memory component of it. And I know ChatGPT doesn't even hold that much memory. You have to pay for more and more memory. But if you could just put your brain in this thing and then it can just pull from what you've told in the past and have like another of your brain, then yeah, that will work. And it's like, well, I know you know this already, so that stuff doesn't really apply to you, but you can find this interesting. And I'm
Yeah,
sure it's almost like that now. There's just no memory.
I think that would be cool too. I don't know. Do you know if you could do it? So basically, if we like put our podcast feed into Chat GPT, it was like, go recommend us some guests for the show.
Well, it can't search the internet, so that's the
Right.
other
No, but
problem.
I'm saying like down the line, like that would be
Yeah,
insane.
for sure it'll do that.
And
Well,
then create an email like based on their Instagram profile and like some shit they posted. That
yep.
would get them to say yes to be on our podcast.
Well, I did that with I did one of our pods. Maybe it was with Cody. I don't know, or maybe it was David or Duke. I don't know. It was one of those people that we had interviewed twice. And I
Yeah.
put the transcription of the first podcast into ChatGPT and said, hey, what questions can I ask? I'm Drew. This is John or whatever. We're interviewing this guy. What questions should I ask? And it brought up some good questions. Like I used them in the podcast. I don't know if I even said that, but yeah, I
That's
did.
crazy.
So because it was based off like, see how he continued with this thing or whatever. Or like, oh, is he still focusing on this part of the business? And I just integrated him in there. So yeah, it did do that part of it.
Wow. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah. Anything else? About an hour. Oh, when are you leaving for your thing?
I leave Wednesday. So we're going Wednesday to get back like really late on Monday.
Oh wow, almost a week.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, obviously we're doing the conference, but we'll have like 2 or 3 days before the conference just kind of check all this stuff out. I haven't been to Vegas in a while, so I'm kind of really excited.
You gonna gamble?
A little. I really don't like gambling that much. I feel like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those things I don't know. It's because I'm just like have ways to make money. Like I'd rather gamble on ASINs where I could potentially make money or have more control. I feel like we actually went. I don't know. We went to a casino maybe like 6 weeks ago. We were at a concert and we actually stayed at a casino. And it's like I think I lost 50-ish bucks. And I don't know. It just felt really bad. I was like, shit, that was stupid.
Dude,
Like
last time
I
I went
don't
to
know.
Vegas.
Maybe I
Last
lost.
time I
It
went to Vegas,
was
I had a
nothing.
lot of cash. I lost $2,000 in like 2 days, 3 days. Yeah, I brought $2,000 in cash, and I was like, I'm gonna just use this for the trip. But then the trip ended up not being that expensive with all the credit card points. But I was like, I'm gonna still use this cash. And I was just drunk and just like kept going and getting cash and using it. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Would you
But yeah,
use it on?
what is it?
What were you playing?
Blackjack.
Like at the table?
Yeah, yeah.
Damn.
I was playing on like a small table too. I was playing at like old Vegas, which is like $5 and $10. Well, I think it was $10, $20 like
Okay.
entry or whatever. So it's like $10 hands, and but they burn quick when you lose like 15 in a row. I mean, you just there goes $150. And if
Yeah.
you play long enough, you lose no matter what. Like you can't win playing long. So
Yeah.
you kind of have to go in with like, okay, I'm only going to spend this amount, then I quit.
That's what I do. I usually I dedicate a certain amount of cash, and once the cash is gone, the
It's
cash
probably
is
got it.
gone. Or yeah, it
There's
just
good,
kind of depends.
there's good food there. That'd be one thing to look at. Isn't Vegas like known for having great food?
Yeah, we were looking at a bunch of stuff. We're actually gonna go to an ice bar. Ever heard of that?
Mhm. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
so we're gonna go to one of those. I've never been. It just looks really cool. So I don't know. You buy like this package, and it's basically just. Did you like it?
I've never been to one. I know what it is.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I don't know. That should be interesting. It feels like weird, but I guess it's gonna be like pretty hot there. So I guess to go into an ice bar.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's a big deal.
Yeah. So I don't
That'd
know.
be fun.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that, and then obviously seeing everyone, and then yeah, just taking a break.
Maybe get some good guests. I'm sure you'll be able to get a bunch.
Oh yeah, for sure. We'll definitely have
Yeah,
a
I didn't
whole
even think about that.
guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll probably have a lineup for the year. Did we mention the plan that I don't know if I talked about like the round table thing? I know we asked Jameson, he said he was in. I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast or after though.
Uh, it was on the podcast because someone left a comment saying that they wanted it. That'd
Oh
be a good
sweet.
idea. So yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have
Episode
to
50.
work on that. We'll just make a big Instagram group chat.
Yep. Oh, that'd be
But
perfect. Yeah.
yeah, cut down on the back and forth. Be like, hey, if
That's
you guys
perfect.
are in, what day do we want to do this?
And we can just release it for episode 50.
Yeah,
50 episodes. How crazy is that?
that's insane.
Yeah.
Freaking
Is it when did we start last November? Almost up to a year, probably. Or maybe earlier than that.
might have been earlier. I don't know. I'd have to look back, but yeah, because I think at the beginning some weeks we did 2.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so I don't know. I have to look back, but probably like maybe February ish.
Sweet. Not too bad. All right, dude. Anything else? If not, close us out.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let us know what you think about this episode in the comments. You like the solo episodes, or if you have any guests you want to come on, let us know, and who knows, maybe we can get them on here. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.